Hello, on today's episode of the Lead More Podcast, we're here in a hotel in Rapid City. I'm your host, John T. Meyer, host of the Lead More Podcast, and my production quality, not as fancy as normal, my office back home in Sioux Falls, but I wanted to be here in the moment to really capture my emotions and my feelings and sort of the anticipation of something big I'm about to do. Why am I in a hotel in Rapid City? Myself and 11 other people are about to embark on, in fact, it's actually just started, the 437 Project. What is the 437 Project? This is the third year. If you follow me online, you might know I did this last year. So I'm a returning runner. And what the 437 Project is a run across the state of South Dakota to raise money for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. We partner with an organization here in South Dakota called the Helpline Center. The Helpline Center provides resources for loss survivors of and grief and loss of suicide. The 988 number, which is the national hotline, crisis hotline for suicide prevention and support, and many other resources, speakers, support groups, and communities across South Dakota. The Helpline Center does a lot of things. And this project started about 3 years ago. It was a brainchild of our Sioux Falls Mayor, Paul Tendaken, formerly a guest on the Lead More Podcast. Where from his spot in the mayor's seat in City Hall felt like, gosh, we do all these things to try to fight crime, drugs, all these problems that we have in our state that everyone has across the country. But I'm seeing a big, big problem that's harder to see, but we feel it, which is mental health and suicide, right? Suicide can be prevented and is a thing that, if tackled strategically and with resources, something that we should be able to fight and bring down. And so the mayor had this idea, and if you're familiar, if you like to exercise, you can clearly know, you felt it, the connection between your physical health and your mental health. Getting outside, fresh air, sunlight, moving your body, right? Sweating, all these things that have tremendous health benefits also have tremendous mental health benefits. And as we all like to say, mental health is health. Many of us, depending on your age, but many of us grew up in the era of like, you're fine, rub some dirt on it, get back out there, you'll be okay, don't be sad. And we just didn't have the language, we didn't have the culture, we didn't talk about mental health. It was sort of taboo, right? And that's what we're here to do is the 437 Project. Last year, I ran this adventure, this project. We raised $270,000 that I was super excited about. It's like, we got to raise money. We got to solve this problem. And while the money is really important and gets put to good use, what I've learned, it's the awareness more than anything. I vividly remember we were running across Western South Dakota, very rural. We got a lead truck, followed by a runner, followed by the RV that carries the other runners, followed by a trailing truck just for safety, for Department of Transportation, public safety. And this rancher, drives by in his truck, rolls down his window, asks, "What are you guys doing?" And we talked to him about the 437 Project and Helpline Center and mental health. And he says, "Wow, that's great," and speeds off, think nothing of it. He comes back maybe 10 minutes later. He ran home or something. And he said, "This is great. Keep up the good work," and hands us $40. He went home, grabbed two $20 bills, and wanted to support the cause. And I just like, that's an example of someone learning about something. He now can tell somebody about the Helpline Center, about the 988 number, about a resource that's available that he didn't know about before. Because even in our state, rural agriculture, we know farmers, ranchers, the levels of depression, of mental health struggles is very high. And the one that gets me as a parent, two girls, almost 9 and 6, children are just really struggling today. Suicide rates are up tremendously, tremendously higher than they used to be, especially since COVID. In the teenage market, specifically young girls are often reports of being very sad and depressed. At the adult level, 1 in 5 adults live with a mental health condition. These numbers come from NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Health. And they say that about 60% of those folks aren't getting any treatment, whether it be therapy, some visits, some support, potentially medication. So 60% aren't getting any treatment. But 1 in 5, the numbers say, you probably in your own family, or at least your immediate friend group, somebody's struggling. And unlike maybe a physical battle with cancer or, some sort of injury, we just don't see it. And if you're not willing to talk about it, we'll never know. Just this last week in South Dakota, a young girl, state champion in track and field, lovely young woman. She took her life, died by suicide. And, just seemingly nobody knew. Everybody, couldn't believe it. So this topic, last year I did this project, I felt like this is a really good cause and I want to help and support this cause. When the time I finished, I felt like this is the cause and we need to talk about it and we need to make sure people are okay. We need to check on people, be good neighbors. Leaders are people that care about the people that follow them, their team, their family, their church, their group, their community, whatever it might be. That's what great leaders do. So briefly about the project, 437, roughly the amount of miles from west to eastern South Dakota, Wyoming border to Iowa border. This morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, Marty, our first runner, took off and he heads out. I'm the 11th runner in the group, so I don't run until 10 p.m. tonight, kind of in western South Dakota, about 100 miles, we'll be about 80-ish miles east of Rapid City. And you run your 9 to 12, 13 miles, whatever your leg is, and you go to the back of the line and we just keep going one after another. So over the course of these 4 days, each runner will run somewhere between 35 and 40 miles. It is physically challenging, obviously, but even more so mentally challenging. We stop and do community events in Rapid City, Pierre, Mitchell, and in Sioux Falls. We hear stories of suicide loss, stories of mental health struggles, and you carry this sort of weight and burden that's emotionally really challenging, but also emotionally really rewarding, because as we move across the state, we pick up more fundraising, we pick up more donations, we pick up more awareness. It feels like this groundswell, this tidal wave is growing to support the cause. So that's what I'll be doing tonight at 10 p.m. You can follow me, John T. Meyer, on Instagram. I'll be documenting the journey. I'm also going to put in the show notes a link to my personal fundraising page. All of the funds go, again, to the Helpline Center. I'm trying to raise $10,000. As this podcast stands, I'm just about $7,000. So on my way to hit that goal, hopefully over the next few days. And if you're listening into this and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can come to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, if you're in the area. We'll be at the Levitt Bandshell about 1 p.m. in downtown Sioux Falls on Sunday when the runners come in to finish the race. We'll talk about the experience, talk about the cause. It's a really powerful, emotional event. So I want to do something different because this is important to me. It's on my heart. I wanted to show you just me here in a hotel room. And I'll be documenting that from, again, on my social media. You can also go to the 437project.org to learn more about this event and about the Helpline Center and all of that. So, all right, leaders, I wanted to let you know what I'm up to and share a little bit about something that matters a lot to me. I thank you, of course, always for listening, for being great leaders and wanting to get better. Great leaders not only have to take care of themselves, don't forget that part, but it's often our responsibility to take care of others. And sometimes that starts with simply checking in and saying, how you're doing? I hope you're okay. Keep up the great work. Do you need anything from me? One day at a time. That's exactly what this race is, one step at a time. You can't think about running 40 miles before you run one, and just one step at a time. So, as I always say, leaders, take care and be well.